If you randomly gathered any 6 people on Earth, chances are one of them is Catholic. The Vatican's most recent estimates suggest nearly 1.4 billion people follow the faith, and the leader of them all is Pope Francis, the man who Catholics believe is a direct successor of St. Peter, one of the 12 disciples of Christ, a frequent figure of the New Testament, and the first bishop of Rome, a job we now call the Pope. But the Pope is far from just a figurehead. His power is practical. And that's been the case for the last 2,000 years. After centuries of persecution, Pope Leo III cemented political power by crowning Charlemagne as head of the Holy Roman Empire in 800 AD, establishing a strong alliance and a 1,000-year dynasty that, at its peak, stretched from Rome to Berlin, covering parts of modern-day France, Switzerland, Austria, and more. Pope Urban II launched the Crusades, thrusting the Mediterranean into 200 years of war between Catholics and Muslims. Pope Paul III leading the church through one of its most fragile moments, the Protestant Reformation, making his own reforms to solidify the church's status, until Italy's reunification took all of the Pope's land, leading to a landmark agreement in 1929.
The whole kind of point of that was more in a symbolic sense, so that the Vatican would be free from political influence. It would have political freedom. The office of the Pope would not be tied to a political power. So that was in 1929 when the Vatican city-state was recognized.
Papal focus shifting toward softer power, pushing values and cultural changes. Pope Leo XIII championed the rights of workers. John XXIII pushed the church to use local languages instead of Latin. John Paul II met millions as he traveled the world to spread the church's message. And most recently, Francis, who has taken a more active role than his predecessors at addressing the global clergy sexual abuse scandal, and apologized for the church's role with, in his words, the cultural genocide of Canada's Indigenous people, preaching a progressive message as the first pope from outside Europe in more than 1,000 years. And that has been huge for the church's influence at a time when its growth is not in the old world. The Vatican says Europe's staying static, but members are going up in Asia, the Americas, with the biggest bump in Africa. That's also where the world's biggest superpowers, the U.S. and China, have fought to influence for decades, mostly by opening their wallets. Pope Francis can't give billions of dollars like these countries, so instead he uses his words to push his preferred policies.
We see that Pope Francis does not spare words when it comes to speaking about migrants and refugees. Pope Francis realizes that these issues are complicated. He does not try to change specific policy, but he always puts forth his view on what protects human dignity. And he knows that immigrants, their dignity needs safeguarding, and that we need to look at the human being one-on-one without just looking at general policies.
And with worries about his health, his potential loss creating a possible influence vacuum. Kelly Cobiella, NBC News.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.